Let me introduce former NFLer, 9 seasons, played for the Packers. I met you back in the 90s, and now we're hanging out together here in KUSI. Rich Moran, everybody. Rich played college ball at Aztecs, and you are a former agent, so I wanted to bring in a couple. You wear a lot of hats.
Yeah.
What's going on in the NFL with all the does anybody know what the roughing rule is now?
Yeah, I want to focus on just the Matthews play, not just because I played at Green Bay, but it was body weight that he got nailed for, all of his body weight on the quarterback. And I think where that comes from is when I played, there was a guy named the Refrigerator, William Perry, and one knew the Refrigerator.
Yep.
Okay, so people, viewers, if you've ever been, when you're a youngster, your older brother held you down, and you got frustrated. Well, the Refrigerator was a commercial refrigerator, okay? And what's happened is you have these other refrigerators like linebackers that are in your house, and you have these dorm refrigerators, which are DBs. So what's happened is these defensive tackles have gotten so big, Paul. They're 340 pounds. So they don't want the body weight of a defensive tackle going on a quarterback and hurting him because they're so big. That's what it was intended for. They made obviously a wrong call with Matthews. I think they'll get it corrected, but So
now it's going to determine what player is falling on you.
I think that's why it was more intended, is the weight of the defense.
That's going to add another layer to a rule that's already...
Right.
All right, well, you brought along a graph, a pay scale graph that helps explain why the NFL is so concerned about what's going on. If we could take that full, explain to us what that's about.
You know what? I had a client who played for the Eagles. He was all pro, and I also represented his brother, who was a franchise player. And it basically just shows that the percentage of the cap for the Eagles back in 2006, they had 52% of their cap money went to 10 players. And if you look on there, the quarterback had, I think it's about, McNabb was 10%, 9.4% of the cap. So when you watch the game tonight, coincidentally, it's the beginning of Fox's new 5-year deal, which is $3.3 billion deal for 5 years for Thursday night football games. So who is the most marquee player? The quarterback. The quarterback warrants the biggest compensation. They do want to protect him. And so the competition committee is trying to protect quarterbacks.
From that standpoint, there's nothing worse than watching a football game with bad quarterback play. It won't end.
Yes.
All right. But the one thing that's going on right now is the social media is lit up.
Yeah.
They are poking fun at the NFL about the roughing rules. I don't know if you've seen some of these videos that are going on. The NFL, they don't like being the butt of the joke. So will social media push the league to change rules?
I think you have the players, the media, and you have the fans. I think customers do talk. I mean, we've superficially talked about Kaepernick in the past, and those are the fans. I think the fans and the joking is kind of humorous, okay? Because the reality is these quarterbacks hit nobody in training camp, okay? They might get 10, 20 hits in a game, but they have no cumulative hits. Okay, so then all of a sudden they get hit and everyone makes a big deal about it. So they're being protected now more, and they get $30 million. So the reality of it is I think they're going to keep protecting them, but they're also going to not have these flagrant mistakes on the penalties.
All right, let's switch gears ever so slightly. Okay. Le'Veon Bell still has yet to report. His former teammate, James Harrison, was on FS1, I believe, and making some advice to his teammate. Take a listen to this, and I want you to respond as an agent.
Sure.
I think the play for Le'Veon, if I'm Le'Veon, is I'm coming back, November 13th?
Yeah, the 10th game.
And I'm going to go in there, I'm going to get my credit the season that I need to get, and I'm going to do the best I can to get out of that season healthy. And for me, I'd give you everything in practice. You would see, the cameras would see that I am fine, I am healthy. But come Saturday, something ain't right. I can't play on Sunday.
Basically, he's saying fake an injury.
Well, first of all, that's great advice for a veteran when you're in the first 2 or 3 weeks of training camp, okay? Because you got to make it through training camp, okay? But the way the new rules are, you can only have 14 padded practices in 17 weeks, and so when you get to the tail end of the season, if he does report really late, those aren't padded practices anyway. And basically, you don't get the NFL unless you're a competitor. So are you going to be a boxer and throw a fight? Le'Veon, if he gets in there, he's going to play full speed. He's giving them contract advice, but everybody knows when you put on the gear, you're going to go full speed.
All right, we got 2 things to get through. Just quickly, Eric Reid's side with the Panthers. He was part of the Colin Kaepernick protest. Yeah. Is that going to end the collusion talk now that he's back in the game?
No, I think he'll still be a figure in that. I mean, you had Reggie White that sued in the NFL CBA that became 1993. He was still signed and played football. So it's a off-field business deal that's going on with him. He signed, and probably isn't where he wanted to be compensation-wise.
All right, we got a minute left. Mike Haynes was in that chair a week ago, Hall of Famer. He had this to say about getting a bigger piece of the NFL economic pie. Take a listen.
When they retire, their pensions aren't the same. You know, the guy who's going out there doing all the work, they're both doing a lot of work, and one maybe feels a little bit more responsible for the other and does more things outside of what goes on the field or in the practices or at the games.
You're not a Hall of Famer. Played 9 years.
Right.
Respond to Mr. Mike Haynes.
Well, as I spoke earlier, I think they went about it the wrong way. You don't go after 32 billionaires and tell them if you don't pay us this, then we're going to do that.
Not show up at a camp.
Right. So I think they should have put a strategy together and gracefully begged and said in the new collective bargaining agreement, and they should have went to the executive committee of the Players Association and said, hey, we don't have a seat at the table, but can you give us a off-balance sheet seat at the table, and we'd like to try and get compensation for some of our Hall of Famers, and there's some other players too, not just these elite players. Obviously it was elite, but those guys didn't get to the Hall of Fame without some of their teammates, which I'm sure they'll warrant. But if you don't ask for it, they're not going to get it. But I just think they went about it the wrong way. I think they don't deserve more than my dad played. I don't see, even though he's passed, I don't think, but there's nothing wrong with him asking.
All right, we're out of time, Rich.
Okay.
All right, we'll see you again tonight on the ASR. A bunch of stops, including a bunch of different sports. 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. sports is over now. I send it back. Oh, by the way, I'm going to be on Coach Quintero's show later tonight. Hope you all tune in for that 97.3 around the 9 o'clock hour. See you then. Bye.